Welcome to Dateline Schools, a presentation of the St. Clair County Regional Educational Service Agency with your host, Terry Harrington.
There are many different aspects to school pride, and at Port Huron Northern, we're taking school pride to a whole nother level. And that's our topic on this edition of Dateline Schools. And to explain what this new effort is all about, my guest is Port Huron Northern teacher and advisor of the program, Gordy Farnsworth, and he also brought with him students Haley Rich-Reed as well as Jorman Wernlinger. But before we begin our conversation on school pride, let's tune in for this education update.
Thank you, Terry. Grades are in for the first semester of the Blue Water Middle College, and the results are worth bragging about. The 86 students in the program averaged a 3.2 grade point average, which is higher than the average for the freshman class at the St. Clair County Community College. In addition, 20 students earned straight A's in each class, while 60 students earned a 3-point average or above in their college classes. The Blue Water Middle College gives high school students the chance to earn a diploma and an associate's degree for free. Students will take their high school classes at one of the 4 participating high schools, and then their college classes at St. Clair County Community College. And St. Clair Tech's annual open house was held early this month, giving local students and their parents a chance to see all Tech has to offer. Staff provided tours of the building, explained the programs, and answered questions from students. Information was also provided on how students can gain technical skills, academic credit, leadership, employability skills, and college credit while still enrolled in their high schools. Students' grades 8 through 10 were invited. Director Pat Yannick said the open house is a great venue for explaining to potential students that Tech can help them identify their career goals and put together a college plan accordingly. Winter enthusiasts should consider taking a trip to the Pine River Nature Center. The trails are perfect for cross-country skiing, spotting a cardinal or two, or just enjoying the serenity of the season. Another great reason to visit the Nature Center is the center's newest addition, a female box eastern turtle. Lucy, the turtle, is now paired up with Lance, another box turtle who has lived at the Nature Center for several years. Lucy was brought to the center after being taken from a private home by the Department of Natural Resources. Eastern turtles are protected by the state of Michigan and are not legal pets. If you'd like to meet Lance or Lucy, the Nature Center is open Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 4:30 p.m. The center is adjacent to the Goodles Park. And finally, it may be hard to think about spring break in the midst of all this winter weather, but it'll be here sooner or later. So in just a couple months, spring break will take place, and students at the St. Clair Public Schools will begin their break April 2nd. Classes will resume on April 10th. Well, that's it for this edition of Education Update. I'm Chris Troy. Terry Harrington and Dateline Schools will return in just a moment.
I'm lucky. Let me help you with that. I get to do something I love. It has nothing to do with touchdowns or titles.
Everybody bring it in.
I get to play a part in the life of someone just starting out.
How many of you think homework is just as important as teamwork?
I help keep kids in school.
Good.
And that's the name of the game.
My name is LaDainian Thomason. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer. Live United.
My life is full of statistics. Thing is, I could have dropped out of school and become one myself, but I didn't because I had people that believed in me. Here's another statistic. 7,000 students drop out every school day. That's 1 every 26 seconds. It's time that students know that we believe in them.
Inspire a student and share your message of support at boostup.org.
Welcome back to Dateline Schools. On this edition of the program, we have some very special guests from Port Huron Northern High School, where this year they've initiated a very intensive school pride program. And to tell us all about it, my guests are students Haley Rich-Reed as well as Jordan Wernlinger. And then Northern teacher and also advisor of the program, Gordy Farnsworth. Welcome to the program, folks.
Thanks, Terry.
Hey, Gordy, kind of an interesting program. We've had a chance to talk a little bit before we went on camera about this whole School Pride initiative. So tell us about it. What is it in a nutshell?
Well, it's a program that's done through Jostens Renaissance. Jostens is a company that has traditionally been known for their class rings and yearbooks and graduation announcements and those types of products. But about 20 years ago, Jostens actually developed this concept that school could be more than it is. And it's really about recognition and rewarding the entire student body. We have a tendency to do a really good job at, acknowledging the best athletes and the best scholars and best musicians in our school, which only really consists of about 10% of the student population. So Jostens Renaissance is really designed to kind of cover the rest of the student population. So recognition, reward is our main goal. It's a student-driven program, so Jordan and Haley have been instrumental in starting up and moving programs along to help with recognition through our school, and actually they've taken it to the middle school levels as well.
Oh. Now, is it this year the first school year you've done this, or this is kind of
actually this is our third year.
Third year, okay.
Third year, and I would say this is the first year that we've been fully functional. The first year we kind of just did a project here and there. Last year we got things rolling along pretty well, and then this year we had just a huge turnout of kids at our very first meeting. We actually had so many kids. Typically we had met in my classroom, which was not a problem because we'd have maybe a dozen kids, and I think we had 60-something kids I think show up for the first meeting this year. So we realized that we had to move locations. So now we meet in the choir room, and it hovers anywhere between 30, 50, 60 kids at a meeting.
Well, what did you attribute the interest, or is it just the program has just kind of been building
well,
momentum the last couple
I think
years?
part of it is that the word's getting out there. The first year or two, people would just, what is Renaissance? Like they would hear the announcements, they might see some of the posters hanging in the school. They really had no idea what it was. And in part, I think that's kind of by design. You kind of want to, programs typically don't, you don't just start full tilt. So we just introduced the concept. We got a few kids that were, movers and shakers in the school. And you really have to, in order to get a program up and running, you have to have those kids. But ideally, you want to get to a place where you've got a truer representation of the student body, which I feel we have now. Some of the kids that come to the meetings and are involved in some of the initiatives and programs are kids that haven't been a part of an extracurricular club, or they're not in music, they're not athletes. So we're starting to see the kids who we're really targeting getting involved themselves. And
you're seeing that excitement, that enthusiasm, and really helping throughout the whole building then?
We have noticed a number of improvements in the school environment. One of the things that actually kind of surprised me last year as we're going through this process of school improvement, they did a number of surveys, and one of the surveys was directed at the staff. And I think they took like the top 15 responses that they got from the staff, and there were about a half a dozen that were either that directly mentioned Renaissance or were somehow related to one of the programs or initiatives that we had done. So I was pretty excited about that the staff had actually taken notice as well.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, what a shot in the arm for you. It probably got your enthusiasm going a little bit more, huh?
Yeah, and we do have this, the first 2 years, it was a considerable amount of work for myself, because anytime you start up a new program, there's generally a lot of work involved and time. And there were a number of students on board, but it really wasn't until this year that we finally got a couple of staff members involved and some parents from the community, and that really helped. Mrs. Hool, who's an English teacher at Port Huron Northern, has been very helpful this year in helping to coordinate things and run with ideas.
Good. Jordan, you're a senior. Have you noticed a big difference in your school as a result of this so far?
I have, yeah. There's a lot more of school pride going on at our school. You're noticing that kids are wanting to change the school and see what they want to change, and they're implementing it. So it's been cool to see, with painting the bathrooms even, just to add some color to the school, taking and putting paw prints up to the school from the parking lot up to the main entrance, just to show kids where the main entrance is at. even at the beginning of the year, even before school started, we had a group get together, and they went and did a chalk drawing that said "Welcome back to Northern," and then they drew like a paw print and put each grade level in it. Also, with they also took little pieces of paper and put names of every single student in their grade, posted them up in the like in the main entrance walkway. So it's been cool seeing that kids are wanting to be recognized and wanting to see a change. I remember coming to one of the first meetings, what was it, 3 years ago? We had, what, 4 or 5 kids show up, so classroom, and we just got together and had pizza for our first meeting, just talked about what Renaissance was, so it's cool seeing it grow up to right around 60 now.
So you've really been with this from the beginning then, right?
Yep, right around.
Why did you choose to get involved with something like this?
Originally, Mr. Farnsworth had mentioned it to me. I just wanted to get involved. I wasn't super involved my freshman year with anything. I saw Renaissance and talked about it and heard that it would be a cool program to talk about. Because it's a neat program because you have NHS and stuff. That's mainly for a junior and senior type of class. But being able as a freshman or sophomore, outside of like student council and stuff, you're able to go and meet and do extracurricular stuff. So,
Haley, how long have you been involved with the program?
This is actually my first year.
Okay. Why did you just choose to get involved with this? What motivated you to do this?
Well, actually, a friend that's been in the program from pretty much the beginning came up to me and said, you know, this is a really cool program, and I think it'd be a good fit for you type of thing. Okay. So I joined it, and it's been awesome.
So what's been your role in this program so far?
Well, I kind of just jumped in type of thing, and I did the showcase in the school. We have a showcase now that has, you know, promotes the Renaissance Club, tells of what's the upcoming events and stuff like that, and we're trying to set up, you know, most valuable participant and stuff. And then also I've done Fun Fitness, and that's a cool program in the elementary school, which we teach, you know, kids how to eat healthy, you know, exercise, get their heart pumping type of thing in a kind of fun setting. And then I've done Be the Change, which is bringing the Renaissance Club to the middle school, which is pretty cool. And they get to, you know, hang out with us high schoolers, and we do a lot of cool programs with that.
Over the canal. Well, we used to have them back in the day. I remember crossing that many times as a kid, but great. So, I mean, so you're really taking this not just within the school, I mean, really expanding it throughout the area. Now, when you say you're working with the middle school, so you're pretty much working with what, Holland Woods and Fort Gratiot? Because that's the 2 feeder schools for your building? Yeah, well, I actually did the Be the Change in Fort Gratiot right now. We're trying to set it up at Holland Woods. We have people trying to get that together. And the same thing on the elementary level, those schools that would feed Northern eventually? Hopefully eventually. Yeah, good. What kind of response are you getting at the middle school? They're really enjoying it, I think. And then it's also nice to have, you know, the Renaissance there so they kind of know and they can get into the Renaissance when they come to Northern too. So they're already involved. As a junior participating in a program like this, what are you getting out of the program? I mean, what are you benefiting? Well, I mean, it feels good to, you know, help out around the community and stuff like that. And then also, you know, just kind of being recognized for everything that I do is awesome. And then also, like, college resumes and stuff like that. Like, that's something that I can put on there, too. Good. Jordan, how about for you?
For me as a senior, it's been it's something that I'd like to carry on to college, like something to just keep on bringing change to the community. Even with, I'd like to become a teacher one day and even come back to the area and help out, and that's kind of influenced me to come back as a teacher to try and maybe even teach at Northern, just to carry on the program because I've seen it change the school. So. It's been cool to see. So. Good. Well, that's good to hear. And then, too, being you want to get involved in teaching, you know, once you get into college and that, I mean, what a great thing to be able to bring to whatever building you're in or continue it at Northern should you get there. Right, yeah. That'd be great. Let's talk a little bit about some of the projects. Haley, you alluded to a couple of them already. Give me a little more details about some of these programs and what you're actually doing throughout the school year here. All right. Well, Jordan and I, we actually just did an assembly for the Be the Change program, promoting that. And that was really fun. We got the kids kind of involved. We're, you know, bringing people that maybe didn't know about Be the Change in the middle school to, you know, figure it out and stuff like that. Kind of the same thing that happened with Renaissance. So
we're really trying to promote that. And then the bridge being built, that's still in the beginning stages, kind of. We're kind of just getting everyone on board with it because it's a big project, and we have to contact a lot of officials and stuff like that, you know, like principals.
And we haven't even talked about the money part of it yet, have we?
Exactly.
So, wow, okay.
Yeah.
What was it like for you to get in front of all those junior high or middle school kids? Junior high, I'm really dating myself, right? Getting in front of the middle school kids as you know, leading that assembly and doing those kind of things.
It was a blast. I mean, you probably agree.
It was a lot of fun. It was neat seeing all the kids get together for the Be the Change, and they all came up with their own ideas what they wanted to do at the assembly. So it wasn't mainly just the Renaissance kids coming in and leading the assembly. We did help them bounce ideas and throw ideas out, but then they would develop them for the assembly, and then they ended up doing it in the assembly. They did an awesome job for it. It was cool because they were able to recognize some of the kids that normally wouldn't get recognized. They played some games, and they just had a good time, so it was neat.
Now, what a neat experience for both of you, though. You know, here you are still in high school, and yet you're teaching other kids how to have pride in their school, pride in what they do. Not too many kids get that kind of experience.
Right. Yeah.
So that's great. What are some other things, including the bridge? What other things you have coming up yet this school year?
Well, kind of a sneak peek, but for right now, what's going on is I'm trying to organize a Port Huron community fair type of thing. What it's going to be is it's going to be Port Huron Northern, Port Huron high school kids coming together. Originally, it's stemming off the idea of like a senior fair type of thing. The idea was that seniors would come and show off their talents and skills and different things, just like a fun type of setting, like on stage or something. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to take the space behind Northern, all the different fields and stuff. I'd like to implement some different tournaments and stuff, like have a soccer tournament going on, some like the Marysville Volley Grass type of tournament going on in the back fields. Just have possibly even a blow-up movie going on, some blow-ups, and just a whole different type of thing just to open up to the community, to have the high schools give back to the community and say thanks for just being supportive of the high schools and stuff. But that's going to come up in May. So.
Now, when you come up with these ideas, now do you have to do all the work, or kind of pass it off to Ms. Farnsworth and let him kind of spearhead it?
No, it's mainly us. We do have 2 chair people from Port Huron Northern, and then 2 from Port Huron High School that will lead it up for the high school. And then we'll get volunteers. We're going to present it to our leadership class, the next Renaissance meeting, and just a couple other groups in each other's schools. We're going to need a ton of volunteers for it and a lot of community support for it. So.
Now, Gordy, do you kind of pump these guys with these ideas, or are you just there to facilitate and let them run with it?
Well, I think early on in the program, that was more my role. As of late, really it's been more student driven, and ultimately that's where we want it to go. Not just from the standpoint that I want less work, but that's what the program's all about. That it's supposed to be student led. Yeah, you know, I popped in on their assembly the other day. I went over to Fort Gratiot on my prep hour, and I was just blown away to see these guys. You know, they're running this assembly, and they've trained these middle school kids to run this assembly. And it was, you know, there was a parent who had helped to kind of help coordinate things, but basically it was all student led. So. All these initiatives are student-led. The idea of the senior fair came up 3 years ago, and there's been talk of it year after year after year. And you know, I've always made it clear to the students that these ideas are not going to happen if you're expecting me to do it. And so finally, 3 years into it, Jordan's taken the ball and he's running with it. And I think with the momentum he's got at this point with the senior fair idea, I think he's going to make it happen. So I'm really excited for him. It's going to be a great event for the community. One of the things too that Terry, the initial idea with this was that it was a chance for the seniors to give back, because traditionally it's always, you know, what are we going to do for the seniors?
Sure.
You know, we put on all these things for the seniors to reward them, which I'm all over that. But it'd be nice to give them an opportunity to to show their appreciation for the community and their families. So that's kind of the direction that we're going with the this community event.
Great. Jordan, how many seniors are involved with you in this planning and organizing and coordinating? I mean, you got a lot of work ahead of you, I'll tell you that.
Right.
But how many of your classmates are participating with you?
I actually haven't really presented to any of the groups
Okay.
yet, but I've talked to various seniors, just different seniors, about the idea. I haven't really talked to a group about it, but every senior that I've talked to said that they'll be right on board with me for it. So it'd be really cool. Right now, I have probably about 25 seniors I've talked to about it that said that they would love to do it.
Good.
So,
that's cool.
Yeah.
Now, Haley, is the junior class involved too, or do you guys have your own kind of projects that you're working on?
Well, I'm pretty sure we can be involved in it, like with the helping out, volunteering, and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So.
And no pressure for you guys to come up with something else
Yeah,
for next year, right?
Yeah.
That's great. Gordon, how many kids are involved in all of this? You know, not just in the planning, but even the kids that are being recognized and you know, highlighted in everything that they're doing.
At this point, most of the recognition comes through the various programs that they're initiating. I would say that we probably have 25 to 30, if not more, that are directly involved with those. We got a number of kids who do attend the meetings, but maybe they're not as instrumental. They're not the kids who are initiating, but they're there for support and help, and they'll get on board and help make things happen. Ultimately, where we want the program to go, though, is to be able to recognize more and more of the student body, and not necessarily by getting involved with the programs, but by giving them reward for, let's say, improving their grade point by a 0.5. You know, there are a number of kids who struggle academically, and their name may never be mentioned at an assembly, or they may never get any kind of pat on the back for their academic performance. And you know, that might be a D student just moving up to a D plus, you know, and saying, hey, good job, you know, and keep working hard. And so it's one of the programs that we're actually in the process of putting together right now, that a number of the Renaissance schools have. It's like a 4-tier recognition program, and the first level would be that student who just moves up a 0.5 in their grade point. So that could be they have a 1.0, and then they went up to a 1.5, which maybe ultimately is not where we want them to be, but that's a considerable increase. So, and then each level recognizes higher and higher academic achievement, and then fewer and fewer absences and discipline problems. So by the time you get to the gold card, you know, you get a lot of perks with that, but then your requirements are a lot higher. So ultimately, that's where we want to be. And so we have a committee that's working on that right now, and I don't know if it'll be in place by the second semester, but you know, we're shooting for that anyways.
Yeah, that's great. I know also this fall you had, along with this, as a part of this, you had kind of a big deal over at Northern in early October with what you termed it was Eastern Michigan Renaissance Collaborative. Tell us a little bit about that and why that is such an important piece of what you're doing.
Well, Jostens believes so much in the Renaissance idea that they've tried to grow the program, and one of the ways more recently that they've been trying to do that is to host regional type conferences where they, once a year, Jostens puts on a national conference, which it's a huge conference. They usually get about 1,500 people, and you know, last year was in California, the year before was in Orlando, and so not everybody can make it to those conferences. So they're trying to start smaller conferences to make it easier for people to get to. So we were fortunate enough to host one in the fall. We had just over 300 participants in that from, I believe, about 30 different schools from around mostly from the county and some a little further south, but we actually had one school from Illinois attend ours.
Really?
All 3 of our middle schools were in attendance, and as a result of that, they all have at least implemented some element of a Renaissance program in their buildings.
Well, very good. You planning on having another one of those conferences this next school year? Or?
No.
I know they're a lot of work, aren't they?
It was an awful lot of work, and not that I wouldn't consider it sometime in the future, but I think at this point we want to focus more on the seeds that we have planted. We want to kind of groom those, in particular the middle schools that are in our district. We want to kind of help support them and make sure that their programs take off. ideally, as you mentioned earlier, we'd like to see this end up in all of our elementary schools as well.
Good. Now, how many other schools in the county are participating, especially at the high school level? You have quite a few, or are they kind of still learning more about it and before they make a commitment?
As far as I know, Marine City has some form of program. There are not too many others in the county that are involved with Renaissance, and so we're hoping that with some of the gains that we've made, that maybe some of the other schools will recognize that and want to get on board as well.
And I know our time's running out here real quick. If a parent heard this or seen this today and would like to find out more information, or maybe a school administrator or another teacher like yourself, where can they get some information? How can they do that?
Well, they could go directly to the Jostens website. If they went to jostens.com, there is a link that would take them to Renaissance.
Okay.
The really neat thing about their website is there's roughly 4,500 schools across the country that have some form of Renaissance program, and they really encourage the schools to share their success stories. So if, let's say, I wanted to find some ideas on how to have a better PEP assembly, I could go to the website and there'd be dozens of schools who have submitted ideas, things that they've done for PEP assemblies. In fact, they even put their scripts on there, what lines you can say so you don't have to recreate the wheel. There's just tons of ideas. The nice thing about this program is there's a lot of support with it. Jostens has been incredible to us, and sometimes I'll call on other schools and say, hey, if I know their administrator, I'll say, we're struggling with this, we're trying to get this idea going. Do you guys have any insight there? So it's been very helpful to have that support system in place.
And I know you're not going to bring it up, but I will. Jostens also recognized Northern for your efforts too already, haven't they?
This past year, we were recognized. I received the award, but I don't like to take credit for it. At the national conference, they recognized 4 individuals for Coordinator of the Year, one from each, I guess you could say, zone of the country, and so I received it for our region.
Good for you. Well, congratulations, Gordy and kids.
Thank you.
Jordan and Haley, congratulations for what you're doing. What an awesome project. Hopefully we'll be able to hear a little bit more about it as this thing develops. So congratulations, and thank you for joining me. And I want to thank you for joining us on this edition of Dateline Schools. See you again soon.